What's up, guys and girls? I appreciate you. Sincerely, I do. I appreciate you coming by. So much content on YouTube. So, I genuinely appreciate you guys stopping by and giving your time. Today, if you can't tell what I'm writing, it is the T4 Pro. I actually thought this was going to be the last iteration of the T4. Then we got the T4 Pro Max. So there's that. The suspension you see, that's not the suspension that it comes with. That's the X linkage, and it's actually more than adequate for what the T4 is. Quantifying what the T4 is, that's a big proposition. You see, it's an electric unicycle with a suspension, and that's plain as day. You can see that. But where does it fit when you look at all of its big brothers and its little brothers? Big brothers being like the Master, the Extreme, the Master Pro. All of those have some very clear lanes. The T4 feels like a pared down version of those big boys. And so for those, it's pretty easy to say, hey, balls to the wall, wide open, and just rip it. You can do that with the Master. You can do that with the Master Pro. You can't do that with the T4 or the T4 Pro. You will find out really quickly about what it means to cut out. So what the T4 Pro is not a high-powered, trail-rocking, jumping, insanely OP, magic, kill-all super wheel. It's not that. I believe that it'll do that comparatively to any wheel that's up to its price point. So between $1,600 and $1,800, and some of the buying groups, I've seen the T4 Pro as low as $1,400. But generally speaking, between $1,600 and $1,800. If you can find something more capable in that price range, please put it below. Seriously, let me know what out there is doing more than what the T4 Pro is at that price point. I'll wait. I find the T4 Pro to be this wheel that I reach for quite a lot. Honestly, at first, I don't know, man. I kind of laughed it away. I didn't reach for it really very much at all. I didn't want to reach for it. Frankly, just the low power stuff, I just didn't want nothing to do with it. But as time went on and other wheels were in and out of disrepair, I found myself cornered, if you will. Because, EUC is my only mode of transportation. So, respectively, I was cornered. The only wheel at a certain point that was running for me was the T4 Pro. V14 had stanchion issues. Master controller board went out after washing it. Master Pro is just way too heavy to be considered an adjacent or something that's manageable for little commutes or errands. So I had to ride. I had to ride it, the T4 Pro. And things started happening, kind of falling into place with regard to the T4 Pro. At first, I had kind of a different pad set up. I didn't have any fairings on it. Then I dropped on my buddy Aaron. He let me borrow some small Gen 1 bio pads. And I stuck those on there with the stock fairings for the V14. I think that's what's on there. So the stock fairings for the V14 and the bio pads. Then the wheel kind of came to life. It's interesting how little effort it takes to make it move. And that becomes a huge boon when you've been riding a Master Pro or you've been riding a Patton or a V14 Master. Really, if you've been riding any of those, the amount that it takes to make those wheels move, it's just a lot more than what is requisite of the T4 Pro. And that's where it really starts to grow. When you get to locations just as quick, sometimes quicker, because agility is on your side. Hopping a curb here or there, making a quick turn here or there, just shaving seconds. By and by, you end up creating quite a lot of headroom in terms of positive time in your commutes. It's not an all-out balls-to-the-wall race. That's really not what the commute becomes about when you're riding the T4 Pro. But you don't need that, and I've tested it a number of times. I've gone balls to the wall on a GT Pro, on a Master Pro, and I have not beaten the times in terms of commuting to my farthest commutes that I'm able to when navigating on the T4 Pro. It's just easy. It's terribly easy. And so more and more I find myself reaching for the T4 Pro. You know, learning new things, feeling playful, all those things are easy on the T4 Pro, just because, like I said, it takes nothing to get going. Absolutely nothing. There's a couple of obvious sort of like setbacks, I think, to the way that the wheel is built that makes it, I don't know, these things are kind of undesirable. The buttons on top, they're just like rubber that's kind of like laid down on top of the screen with like just little pegs that kind of drop in, and there's no adhesive or anything like that, and it's really a perfect ingress point for water. So I don't really know what was the thought process with like designing the buttons. That was a little bit of a shock. I mean, if you set the T4 Pro down the wrong way, you know, the buttons will actually kind of just fall off of the top. So that's not something I think is okay. You know, with the tail lights and with the seat area being kind of fragile, and then the front of the wheel being where the headlights are, there's no convenient way to actually park your T4 Pro without leaning it up against something, you know, or just flopping it onto its side. There's no kickstand that comes with it. There's no bumper system for the front or for the back that makes it okay to lean it over. You're actively, you know, poo-pooing your wheel when you set this wheel down without the kickstand or any bumpers. So that was also something that I thought was kind of weird. Also, I don't know, man. The lights, I found the lights to be strange. Like the rear lights are not, I don't know, like I didn't like them so much that I removed them. They just feel kind of janky. I think that's the easiest way for me to say it. They just felt really janky, the way that they kind of are just there with the little brackets that they sit on, the little L brackets, and it just, you know, one side would be tilted in and the other side would be tilted out, and it would just be a lack of continuity anytime you look at your wheel's rear taillights, and it just drove me crazy. So eventually I just got rid of them. I was like, nope, I don't want them anymore. And the shocking, right? So the shocks on the T4 Pro, the ones that you get with it, the Begode air shock that you get with it, how do you say it? How do you say it without being a troll? The air shocks that come with the Begode wheels are incredibly lacking. Anecdotally, my friends that have T4 Pros have had the air shock that came with them since the very beginning, and those things have lasted them no problem. I personally destroyed 2 inside of less than a week. Ultimately ended up getting this X linkage with the coil suspension. If you're an aggressive rider at all, just go ahead and get yourself a coil suspension. Don't play with the air shock with this if it's the stock one. Ultimately, you may end up wanting to get an air shock, but if you do, make sure that you get one that is an aftermarket air shock, and know that it will not be as resilient over any period of time as the coil shocks will be. While the coil shocks are a lot heavier, they are just so much more durable. And if you're trying to save weight, if you're trying to have weight savings with your wheel, that is not the area I would suggest shaving any sort of weight. You know, it's definitely worth it to have the coil shock. You know, for sure, I would highly recommend the coil shock. It's really the way to go, especially if you're planning on doing any sort of off-road, or you're planning on doing any sort of stairs or drops or any of that sort of like frolic and play kind of like wild stuff. I'd also advise you to, you know, get a fairing and bumper set, whether you 3D print the bumper set yourself, or get a friend to 3D print it for you, or you can outsource a kit like the one from Grizzla. Clark also makes a kit which is plenty fine suited for the T4 Pro. So those are things to keep in mind. You know, you can definitely bolster your T4 Pro and the durability of it in just a couple of, you know, short, quick moments. If you are planning on doing a lot of insane aftermarket stuff, then yeah, you do also want to kind of consider any insane like off-road like crazy stuff. Then you'll want to consider an aftermarket linkage, like an X linkage or like the Emma linkage. I mean, you know, there's so many different linkages out there. But right now they've all been pretty well reduced to just a couple of distributors who have kind of beaten everybody else to the bottom. So you might be able to get like a linkage right now for $125 for a nice machined linkage from Huning. So there's just so many ways to finish your T4, and I guess that's probably like the last place that I'll touch on with the T4. It's the fact that, you know, this wheel is just an aftermarket dream. Both the Master and the T4 have been around for a while. The community has just had a chance at them for just so long. So there's multiple 3D printable kits available online. There's aftermarket body kits. There's pedals. There's linkages. There's light modification kits. There's just so many things available to just trick out your T4 Pro to be this custom miraculous marvel that is all yours, just 100% custom to you. Nobody else will have one just like you. So I think that that's kind of fun and worth thinking about. When things just come out, when they come out brand new, you know, you're working out a lot of kinks as kind of users. You know, all the kinks are gone in the T4 Pro. You're also kind of waiting to see who adopts support in the aftermarket community. Will it be Grizzla? Will it be Clark? Will it be Millanova? Will it be E-Rides? Will it be, you know, whoever? Like, you know, who's going to be the next person that steps up to make the modifications? And, you know, will those modifications have support going forward? I mean, there's just so much good aftermarket support for the T4 Pro. So, you know, if you're the sort of person that absolutely needs the newest of the newest of the newest of the new, then like, you're probably not even watching this video. You probably changed it a long time ago. But if you're still here, then there may be some levity to your decision making, and you may just need enough to do what it is that you want to do, and not more than that. You know, the average rider is, even on a fast ride, you know, punching somewhere between 27 and like 33, 32 miles an hour. It's like the average speed. T4 Pro can do that. So, you know, if you've got to be ahead of the Joneses and you got to have the most brand newest, then obviously the T4 Pro is just not for you. You know, if you want to take advantage of the fact that, you know, all of the R&D costs are paid for on the T4 Pro, and that they're just churning out a wheel that is tried, true, tested, solid, and pretty freaking awesome for a very good price, then do it. You know, I'm not going to tell you. But that's been my experience so far. It's a pretty cool wheel. It's hella convenient. That's really its shining point. It's a little challenging to sit down, but once you do, it's kind of easy to get back there. It's like the first time that you sit down on it, you're like, whoa, this is different. But after that, it's really good deal. Anyway, guys, thank you. I can't say enough how much I appreciate you. I try to take the feedback you give me and make things better. Try to learn and just give you what I got. That's all I can do, man. And that's all I'm going to keep on doing. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed all the dynamic angles and all that fun stuff. And until next time, you know, please, you guys, ride safe, okay? Pay attention. Keep your head on a swivel. It only takes one wrong move for things to go the wrong way. Please don't ride like you're entitled. You might sound like an old man, but God, don't ride like you're entitled. Pay attention. Give these cars space, man. Okay? Alright, guys. Love you. We'll talk soon. Johnny. Out.